Episode 2 of Thursday Night Lights. What's up, Stead? How's it going, man?
What's happening, buddy? Ain't nothing. Just chilling, just chilling.
Just chilling. So we had a New Year's Eve away from the security life. What'd you spend your New Year's Eve doing?
Man, I was chilling, man. I was with family. Said went over to neighbor's house, friends of the family kind of hung out to the ball drop, man, and getting in this age. And especially in autumn years, we friggin' worked New Year's Eve and I was like, man, I do not want to see a club, bar, anything, bar, nothing. I don't want to be around a bunch of people. I just want to chill.
Yeah, you could not pay me to go to a bar or a club on New Year's Eve now that we're not in that life anymore. Me and the wife
Bro,
just went out to dinner. I think I was probably in bed by like 10:30. Got home, I
that
drank
was it.
one of them drinks I was telling you about, and I was knocked out.
Yeah, I was it's funny because we were with neighbors. Like, man, I was dozing even before the ball was being dropped. My wife was hitting me. She's like, "You're going to sleep." I'm like, "Man," I was like, "Let me know when the new year hits."
So we got a little bit of a mailbag episode today. We got five different questions people have submitted that they want our answers to, they want our perspective on. So we'll roll through those. The first one will be interesting. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Okay.
Angriest that you've ever seen each other. So you tell the story about the angriest you've ever seen me, and then I'll tell a story about the angriest I've ever seen you.
Ooh, I think I know one. Yeah, I know one. I'm trying to think if there was two. Oh, wait, I got that one. Ha. It probably the angers in the foot. Well, I'll go with this one. So I know you remember old dude that used to come in there with all the piercings.
I knew that's where you were gonna go. Yeah.
So we're in here. This one guy would come in, super annoying, and he had money, just throwing money around or whatever, and thought it could get him like where he can act like an ass all the time coming in there. And one night, like we'd already had probably two or three altercations before, so everybody was already riled up and tired of everything already. And I know you were pissed. And this dude, he comes out there. So I usually post up in the back spot because I'm watching over everybody, make sure everybody's in their positions and stuff and moving around. And I go to the back to get something to drink, and then I hear on there on the mic, Brian was like, something of Justin, just get him ready, just move away, just move away. And I guess he had called you. What did he say? He was like, "Did he call you pussy or he call you like a dope? What was it?
Uh, he he called
Or
yeah he
faggot?
called
Faggot.
yep called me a
Yep.
faggot. He was
Yep.
he was pissed because he was sneaking an underage girl in there, and he was
That's
mad.
yep.
He was mad that we or no, he had a girl in there, and then
Mm-hmm.
somebody came and told me I went to high school with that girl's sister. She's 19. She shouldn't be in here. So then I went and re-ID'd her, and he got pissed and
Yeah.
decided to get in my face about it. And I'll let you keep telling the
Yeah.
story.
So he's going there. So I know it was. He was like, kept calling him like a faggot, and he's like, "Listen, dude, she's underage. She's got to go. Whether I re-ID'd her or they missed it in the first place, she's got to go. She's underage." So he kept calling you that, and you're like, "Listen, call one more time." So the one time he sit there, and I don't know if he. I know I just looking through the back window, and I hear Brian like, "Justin, just walk away." So I'm like, "Listen, when I hear that twice, I got to get out of here." So as soon as I walk out, I guess he had called you like it right when I walked out because I just saw him just get scooped up. Boom. Dude's, dude's up in the air, slams back on the top part of his back. And then, so I'm coming out and I'm like, okay, let me just get over there to stop it. But then I just saw your arm like rear back. And so, just to give you a picture of this dude, he's got both nostrils pierced. He's got, I don't know if it was whole top, it had to be a whole bottom row of his lip, all pierced. He had it on his cheek, like a couple run up his nose, like one side was like all pierced up, and he was just sitting there with it wide open. And I just saw your arm just cocked back. And dude, I don't think I've ever had a start time this fast. So I took off and I just dove and just hooked your arm and then it rolled you over. And you're like, what are you doing? I was like, no, don't hit him, don't hit him. He was wide open. So I get him out there, man. And dude, I've never seen you that mad. I just know when I looked out that window to open up, I saw that glare, and all of a sudden, because the thing is like usually when we're moving people out, Justin's usually calm whenever he's getting, even if people are fighting him, they're trying to fight him, he's moving him out, he's calm. I just saw his face was a little red and he just kind of tensed up. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. And then when he just scooped him, I was like, yeah, this is not good. Especially when I knew you were about to hit him in the face. And then dude was out there. He's like, man, you should let me go. I was just about to kill him. I'm like, nah. I was like, I saved your face, dude. All this would have got busted up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that had to be the angriest I've seen you.
Yeah, you saved that guy's life that day.
Oh,
I could not stand that dude. He was a regular. He apparently was like a higher up on the Indian reservation, so he
no.
had a lot of money to throw around. And the funny thing is, he always had a problem with me because he had a crush on that Rachel girl that worked
Oh,
there.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and Rachel was always trying to get at me, and I wasn't interested. I was like,
Yeah.
no. But he for some reason thought that I was, and so he always had a problem with me. So he always started shit when he came in here. But yeah, that night just had to re-ID the girl, and she was
Man.
underage. And he came up, and so I re-ID'd her. And the shit that pissed me off is he threw so much money around that even though this girl was underage, he went and he got whatever manager was working that night, and they let the girl stay in.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, I need to walk away from this. This is stupid. So I go to the other side of the bar and I'm just chilling, minding my business. And he walks up, gets right in my face, and he's like, what do you got to say now? I'm like, I wasn't wrong, dude. She's underage. The
Yeah.
manager's just letting her stay in. And then he starts calling it. And he's like, you're a fucking faggot. I'm like, say that one more time. He's like, you're a fucking fun. He didn't even get to the G. And I
This,
grabbed him by the neck and just, you see
but
in the
dude.
WWE when
Oh
they
yeah.
choke slam people, I didn't know it was actually possible. Like I wasn't planning that move. I was
Oh, I
just so
saw it.
mad that I grabbed the neck right away and I lifted him and I slammed him and then I put a knee on his chest and I was just right there. And I'd never been hit like that before in my life. Just you out of nowhere, just
I was
boom.
like, I knew it was over. I said, if he contacts, he's gonna get fired. I'm gonna be in here by myself. I'm like, no.
So you hit me, and then you hit me. We roll off of him. Two guys grab him. You walk him up front, and then I don't know if you remember, but then his friend came around, and
He
his
always had them two
friend,
dudes with him. Yeah.
yep, his friend's like, "Hey man, what the fuck?" And I stepped in. I'm like, "You want to go? Let's go." And then somebody else stepped in. Was like, "Jesus, Justin, go cool off." I was ready to fight anybody that night. I was ready to go.
Yeah, it was because I remember Brian was like, because we would know whenever you had like like when it comes closer when you're having like fights coming up, MMA fights,
Mm.
they'd always be like, Brian called me in the back. He's like, is he training? I'm like, he's always training. Does he have a fight this week? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I was like, I think dude just pissed him off, man.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't a fight coming up. We couldn't blame
Yeah.
cutting weight or nothing on
No.
that shit.
I was like, I
Dude
don't
just
think he,
pissed
I
me
was
off.
like, nah, he's not hungry. I just think that yeah, dude pissed him off.
Dude pissed me off. And then a couple of the bartenders got mad because I told all his friends, I told them, I was like, if he comes back in here, I'm hitting. So
Yeah,
the managers wouldn't 86 him. I'm like, that's fine. Just let him know. If
because
he
he
comes
just
back
kept
in, I'm
throwing.
gonna hit him.
Yeah, because he threw too much money at him, so they're letting him kind of do whatever he wanted to. But I'm like, dude, you gotta walk. I told him, I was like, man, you better walk on eggshells. I'm like, because none of us like you. I'm
Uh,
like, we can
and
make it rough for you in here.
it's funny because he was talking so tough outside in
Oh
front of
man.
you,
Oh my
but
gosh.
yet nobody 86 him. I just made the threat very known that if I see you again, I'm gonna hit you. And we never saw him.
Yep.
We never saw that
Yep.
dude again.
I'm like, it's gonna happen, dude. I'm like, he's gonna sneak. He's gonna get him. Yeah, that was funny.
Man, now I got to think that. So the angriest I've ever seen you, I had to think about this one because Cedric doesn't get mad. Cedric was like, I'm not gonna say happy go lucky, but like always in a pretty security wise, like happy go,
Yeah.
like always in a good mood. always pretty upbeat. You know, that's why people liked him because they come in the door. He's gonna dap them up. He's gonna hug them. He's gonna ask how their day went. You
Yeah,
know, so getting
that's because Justin wouldn't.
so the angriest I ever saw said this story. It actually starts in the gym away from said there was this crew of dudes that used to come in.
Oh God,
Then we called them the fuckboy crew. They,
yeah,
you know how it is. They in their mid 20s. They drive big trucks. They throw their daddy's money around. They think they're hot shit. They're the dudes who are in the gym and they're geared up. You know, they're on testosterone. They're on trend. They're on whatever, and they're trying to get as big as they can because deep down they don't ever want anybody to try to fight them. So they want to look big, look intimidating,
mm-hmm.
to scare people off. So we had this fuckboy crew, and I'm working out, and one of the dudes who worked with us, Zach, he's working out. So we work out, going to the sauna. One of the dudes from that crew is in the sauna, and he doesn't recognize me, but he's friends with Zach. So he's talking to Zach, and Zach's like, "What you guys doing this weekend?" So, "Oh, we're gonna go through Wild Bills," and he just starts talking shit about Cedric, just out of nowhere, just like, "Man, I hope that fucking black guy ain't there. I
Yo,
don't know I don't know what
can't
his
stand
problem
that
is.
dude. Oh, I can't stand him.
I could fuck that dude up." And I'm just sitting there not saying anything. And Zach starts laughing, and the dude's like, "What are you laughing about?" And he's like, "That's one of his best friends over there." And he looks at me, he's like, "Oh shit, you work at Wild Bills too, don't you?" I was like, "Yep." He's like, "Are you gonna tell him what I said?" And I said, "Yep."
Yo,
And he's like, "What, you think he's gonna fuck me up?" I was like, "Yep."
yo.
He's like, "You don't think I could take him?" I'm like, "No,
No.
not at, not at all." So I told you about it, and sure enough, the dude comes in
Yep.
with his crew, and they were six deep, 6 or 7, maybe even 8 deep. They always
Yeah,
go
they
over.
were they were real deep. Yeah.
Yep, yep. That type of crew where they thought they had strength in numbers, so when they were all together, they were shitheads. But if you caught one of them by themselves, they turned into
Wouldn't
just like
talk.
a little bitch real
Yeah.
quick.
Wouldn't talk.
Uh, so it's funny because he rolls in. Cedric sees him right away. Doesn't radio for anybody. Nothing. Just I follow him, and he just right in the middle of sticks, dude. Just gets in the guy's face, like, "Say what you had to say, and
Yep.
let's get it out there." And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man." And I'm just sitting in the back and laughing. I'm like, "Come on, man!"
Yeah.
Like,
Because I remember he was right over there. He was like right over there by those arcades over there. And I was like,
yep,
yeah. I was like, it's back here out of the way of this one camera. I was like, just say it. I said, all you got to do is say it. We can go right here. There's because that's that blind spot where them
mm-hmm.
arcades are back in the corner. I was like, all you got to do is say it. Just say it. And he was just, oh, I don't know. I didn't say it. I don't know what you're talking about, man. You're always on me. I'm like, But the weird thing is that, like you said, they were deep that night. None of them other dudes moved.
No,
It
those
was just
dudes.
me and you in the corner.
They had the one dude in their crew, and I'm not going to mention him by name. I'm not going to spell him out like that. He was the only one who was somewhat cool
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that crew,
I know you're talking
and
about.
yep, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'll fight any other bouncer in here, but I'm not fighting you. You punch." Like,
Yep, yep,
the other guys don't throw punches. You punch. I'm like,
yep,
"Yeah,
yeah. Because he's like, oh, that's for sure. I was like, you're gonna get a quick one with Justin, them quick two pieces. But I just remember because you know how we always go into the play. We're always assessing the situation. So I'm like, even when I'm walking over there, I was like, okay, so this is a small corner. I was like, if I went and strategically stood in a place where all of them were in front of us. So I was like, well, we're not getting hit in the back of the head or whatever. And either they had two ways out. They could just run out, go through the back part by that cash bar, or they had to come through us. So them dudes were not moving. Some of them just took off and left. And like I think there was only like two or three of them with him at the end. And it was just, I mean, I can't stand that dude. And it all stemmed from something that he put out. Remember when he put what was it on Facebook or something? Where he sit there and he had sent out and put out and he had put the N-word out or something. You know what I mean?
yep,
Ever since then, man, I was like, and I told him, I was like, dude, I do not fuck with you. I was like, any
yep,
point in time you say anything or breathe wrong around me, dude, I was like, I'm just gonna
yep."
lose this job and just start swinging.
That's the thing with them suburban kids. They were all Lakeville kids, like the
No,
rich side of Lakeville, and they all of them were, if not overly racist, they were subtly racist. We saw it
yeah,
play out. And then the like kingpin of their crew, that Spencer kid, that shit was hilarious. I don't think you were there the time that Some dude keyed one of the guys' cars, or
Oh, I
no, a
wasn't there.
girl.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah,
I wasn't there.
yep. So girl and all these dudes are white dudes. So there's girls in there, and she's with a couple black dudes, and she keyed one of their cars because one of them like I don't remember these dudes were pieces of shit. Just to get the story across, I'm pretty sure if I remember right, they had hooked up with the girl and sent pictures of her around to everybody or something like some real
Ah,
low down dirty shit. So the girl keys the dude's car. He gets pissed. They're out in the parking lot and they're talking shit. And it's three black guys and it's these four white kids and they're talking shit. And I'm in between them because they're still on our property and can't let them fight as much as I want to see these dudes get
mm,
pieced up. And all of a sudden, that dude throws out the N word, and I took a very big, obvious step back, and everybody froze. And the
yeah.
black dudes to the left of me, they looked at me and they're like, "You gonna let us get him?" And I was like, "By all means, man."
Yeah, go
He's
ahead.
throwing that word around, and he freezes up right away. He's like, "Hey, you can't do that." And I was like, I'm washing my hands of this, man. You're
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
own." And them dudes chased him. I don't know if they caught him, but he ran down that block like
I remember
straight
you
up
telling me that.
like a
You're
bitch.
like, I was like, what? And he said, because didn't he say he was like a quarter black or something like that?
I
What
think he
was he
said he's
saying?
like he started throwing that shit around. He's like, I'm an eighth black. I did ancestry.com. It's like, shut the fuck up. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, bro. Yeah, that was yeah, that was weird. That's a whole weird crew, man.
Yep.
But it's good to see like I know the same guy we're thinking about. That dude like totally switched it up. He's doing good, man. I'm happy for him, but yeah, because that crew was man.
They stuck. They stuck.
Yeah.
So the next question we got, this one's gonna be funny. We can just talk about dress codes in general because we've worked at multiple spots with them. But somebody wanted us to defend the Wild Bills dress code. You want to take it first, or should I take it first?
Dude, I and the thing is that I was like, I don't even know if I can defend it. I have no besides the only thing that probably because of my own this is just me because I can't stand freaking pants sagging down. I hate that shit. I don't even think that shouldn't be allowed in any bar or whatever, but that's just
Right.
me. But people wear how they want to wear it. But other than that, man, I as far as well, but there's and you know how that code went, like, and it was about 20 something deep. Remember they had it on the wall?
Oh man, they had so much shit.
And I just like I could not defend, I don't think not one of those.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean, let's
I was
let's
trying to
break
think
down
back.
let's break down what the dress code was. So if you break down what the dress code was, it's really easy to understand what they were trying to do with it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. See if you can decipher it.
first of all, no flat brim hats, which is hilarious. What hat isn't a flat brim hat these days?
Now that yeah.
Um, you got to wear it all the way forward or all the way to the back. It can't be cocked to the side either way. There's no stickers allowed on it. That one always cracked me up.
Yeah.
No plain white tees, no sweatpants, no wasn't it no you can't have like jewelry, right? It has to be your
Oh,
jewel your chain.
long
Yep,
dangly jewelry.
yep, your chain's got to be
Yeah.
tucked. And yeah, no sweatpants. You got to be wearing jeans, slacks, something like that. So there's some other stuff I'm missing in there, but basically what the dress code comes down to is they didn't want black people.
That's
That's
what it was. Yeah.
if you
That's basically
I've
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked, and it's funny because I started working bar security 2009, so I was 19 years old, and every bar I worked at had dress codes like that. And I remember right around like 2015, I want to say, there was a bar in Uptown. I don't know if you remember. It was called Bar Louie,
Yep.
and they
Yep.
they went viral because
That's
their
right.
dress code. They had some
Yeah.
incident where they wouldn't have let a guy in because he had that dress code, and everybody's freaking out. They're like, "This is so racist," and I'm sitting there. I'm like, every bar I've worked at has had this dress
Every
code.
one of them. Yeah. I'm
Every
like,
bar
they
that
just
I've
bring
worked
that
at.
up. I'm like, check every other bar.
Yeah. And but then when you break it down, you're like, well, when you really break down these dress codes, that is kind of what they're trying to keep like Brian always
Yeah.
used to call it the element. You're
The
like,
element.
bro,
Yeah.
we just
We know
just
what
say you don't want black
yeah,
people in.
yeah, we know what your element is, man.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
come on, man. Um, but yeah, when it's that kind of dress code, yeah, I'm gonna have like when you really stare at that kind of dress code, you're like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up, like the hat thing and the chain thing and the white tees. Like I understand the no sagging of the pants.
Yeah,
I even understand no sweatpants. It's like you're an adult, we're going out,
yeah,
whatever. When I got back into security, so I worked at Cowboy Jacks this summer to pay for the wedding. And I
right.
was shocked because it's changed so much now that places just don't do a dress code. So there's people,
Because that's
you
what
got
they, yeah.
yeah, you
But
got
what,
kids in pajama pants and sweatpants or whatever. Like,
and that's what I was about to say. The thing I didn't get was like, even then when we were there at Bill's, you wouldn't let sweatpants in, but you let people come in with pajamas. And I'm like, what kind of element? I'm like, dude, you were already stressing what element. I'm like, what is the deal with, because then back towards the end when we were at Bill's, that's when the joggers were coming into, and
yeah.
like everybody's wearing. I'm like, it's just a tie. Everybody's wearing it, either black, white, or whatever. But you wouldn't let people come in there with jog, but they'd be coming there with like Cookie Monster pajama pants. And I'm like, really? Like, what are you trying? Because he always, he's yeah, we want to be more upscale. I'm like, how you going to be upscale when you got people coming here in pajamas? I'm like,
And
this
to be
doesn't work.
clear, it wasn't dudes coming in with Cookie Monster pajamas because we didn't allow that, but it was
Yeah.
girls. Like that was the thing with the dress code is it only applied to
The
men. There was
dudes.
no woman dress code. There were a
Yep.
couple, there were times where girls showed up. We're like, we really gonna like was remember that time the girl showed up? It was like summer, July is a hot night, and she was just wearing a bra. She was just wearing like
Yeah.
jeans and a black bra, and we were like,
And I had to explain it. She was like, I said, it's not a thing where I'm like not being sexist or whatever. I said, you go in here in this bra. Now I'm going to have to basically assign somebody to you so they're not just groping or grabbing you guys like because you're coming in the bra. I was like, I don't care what you wear. You want to come out in the bra, you come out in the bra. But now I have to protect you in here from these dudes seeing you walking here in nothing but a bra. I'm like, come
yeah.
on. Yeah, I
So yeah,
remember
the what?
that one. Were you there when God, it was I could you might not have been, I think I might have been new, or you might have just got there. Because I remember Shane and all them were there, and this girl came in. I know she liked Shane, and she would always come on in tight shirts. And I remember Brian was like, at one point, like she had to put like a jacket or sweatshirt on because she was always like poking out. So I was like, well, manager was like, I said, I hate to say it. I said, well, you have anything like a jacket or a little light, something you can throw on, or maybe change it onto a looser shirt. Because she would always have dudes like grabbing or whatever, and she'd have to tell. She'd always goes to Shane, get this dude away from me or whatever. I said, we're just trying to eliminate that so you can have a good time. And she's like, oh no, I'll take care of it. And she turns around, and you just see her turn around, and then she comes back up, and she turns around, okay, all done, and she's popping stuff in her mouth. I'm like, what did you just do? So she would put Skittles. So that's what Shade and they kept calling her Skittles every time she came in. They're like, Skittles is here. I think that'd have been right before you get there. I
Yeah,
was sitting
I
there.
never met Skittles.
Yeah, you got to be Skittles, man. So I was like, you got to be kidding me. So Brian came around and said, dude, you're not gonna believe this. And I told Shade, and Shade's like, what? He's sitting there talking to her. So now every time she came in, hey Skittles, what's happening? I'm like, I don't get the job. I don't know what women do, whatever that. I was like, I don't know why you would need to do that.
Gotta
Well,
do what you
but
gotta do.
yeah.
Yeah, so the Wild Bills dress code, is ridiculous. But to be clear, every place, I mean, back in the day, at least, I'm not so sure now, but every place had a dress code back in the day.
Yeah.
Before I worked at Wild Bills, I worked downtown for a long time. And for a while, I worked for a company that would basically just tell you what bar to go to for the night. And they had like four different ones that they ran. And they would always send me to Club New York, which was the all black hip hop spot downtown for a while. It hasn't been open in a long time. And
Okay.
they were like, yeah, man. I mean, you chill, you understand the demographic, and you work well with everybody in there. So we're gonna keep you there. But even that spot, like people want to say that the dress code is racist and it's this and it's that. That spot was owned by a black man, and he had not the same dress code as Wild Bills, but he did have no sweatpants, can't sag your
Mm,
pants. There were a couple different things in that one, and then I worked for Aqua for a while, and
I remember
they
that.
Man, their dress code stuck because you had to be in a collared shirt and you had to be in slacks. So,
Damn,
and no tennis shoes. So you had and then bouncing there, you had to wear we had to wear a sport coat, slacks, collared shirt,
that's too
tie, man.
much.
That shit working there showed me that the James Bond movies are super unrealistic because you can't fight.
Can't move
You can't
anywhere.
fight in a suit, man. You can't fight in a suit.
Can't get in there in the black shiny shoes. Can't
No.
can't get down.
And then me and you worked at Fremont after
Yeah,
Wild Bills, and that was the hip hop spot down in Uptown, mostly black demographic. And they had a dress code too, very similar
yeah.
to what Wild Bills didn't allow. No sweatpants, no. I don't think they cared about white tees. They certainly didn't care about hats. The hat
No,
shit will always crack me up because what cracks me up is that meeting that we had where Brian was explaining the hat shit, and he was like, "Yeah, well, we don't allow stickers on the hat because." In certain gangs, when you put the sticker on the left side of the hat, that means it's about to go down. And you've worked in Memphis, I've worked in Minneapolis.
yeah.
We've been around like actual where you got to look out for gang shit. And I remember I looked at you and I was like, "Have you ever heard that
I
before?"
know.
And you were
I
like,
thought it was some
"No,
Minnesota stuff. I was asking you. I was like, they do that here? They're like, nope. I'm like,
nope."
I don't know what that is.
And then he was like, "And it's the same thing. If they cock it to the left, that means one thing. If they cock it to the right, I'm like, I don't think that's what that means, man. I think it's just however they're comfortable wearing this shit."
Dude, I was rolling because after that meeting, I remember because yeah, that was Saturday, so I think it was the next Thursday. Kid, you get a little suburban white kid coming in. He has a flat brim hat. I see the sticker, and like ever since then, I don't know about just unconscious. I'm looking at the sticker like that's on the left side. Is it going down in here? I'm like, hey man, how you doing? I'm always asking questions. I'm like, maybe it's some kind of suburban gang thing. I'm like, I've never heard of that mess ever. That mess is funny as hell.
It was fun. That meeting was funny because that was the hardest I've ever had to like not laugh. And I had to there was a point where I had to stop looking at you because I was gonna
Yeah,
start laughing. It was like me, you, and Big. We were like looking at each other across the room, trying not to laugh. And Big's doing that thing where he turns like red.
bright red. I didn't even look over at him. I was looking for. I was like, big, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
Because this dude, the owner who's trying to justify his dress code, he's like, yeah, people think it's racist, but I've been down with hip hop since day one. I can rap every lyric to Eminem to Kid Rock, and I remember he said Kid Rock, and I
I
looked
was
at
like,
you, and you like cocked your head to the side, and I had to look away. I'm like, I'm gonna die laughing, bro. I'm
I'm
gonna
like, did
die.
Kid Rock really big? I'm like, ah. I was like, man, this dude is. I think he said one. What was the one? Because I think I got up and was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom because I was about to bust out. He's like, I know the hardcore stuff. I think he said Coolio. I got it. I said, oh man, I gotta pee. I had to go in there. I was like, I was about to lose it. I was like, if this dude called Coolio a hardcore rapper, I'm like, oh, I'm like, why am I here at 3 in the morning listening to this?
Oh man, good times with the Wild Bills dress code.
Oh yeah.
The next one we got is, do you have any stories about crazy regulars? I got a few, but I'll let you start.
I gotta think of you do one. I gotta think of one.
I'll do my most recent one because like I said, so I worked at the Cowboy Jacks that's literally right next to the Wild Bills. Worked
Uh,
there during the summer to pay for the wedding. And it had been we stopped working at Wild Bills in 2017, if I remember right.
mhm.
Um, so it had been 7 years since I'd been in that area. And we had this dude at Wild Bills who we called Breaking Bad. Older dude. It looks like the actor. Looks like the actor from Breaking Bad. He shaves his head. He's got the goatee,
Oh
and
yeah.
dude's funny as hell. He wears like fucking Tommy Bahama shirts and just like he's a fucking alcoholic. It's
Oh,
kind of sad
one
when you
hundred
really
percent,
break it
one
down. He
hundred
doesn't.
percent.
He's in there by himself, and at Wild Bill's every night. He'd be double fisting like a couple of Coronas or whatever, and he would do this dance where all he did is just shake in place, just little shake in place. And the shit was so funny because he was so drunk, he'd have his thumbs over the tops of the bottles,
Just
and
pull
then
the shoot.
eventually shit would just start shooting up and it's spray, and he'd be looking around like, "Where's this beer coming from?" And it's like,
Oh man,
bro.
that dude, he was funny as
So
hell.
it's my first night at this Cowboy Jack 7 years later, 7 years since I've seen this man. And what do you know? This motherfucker is in there doing the same shit. I think I sent a video of him to the
Yeah.
group chat. I was like, this dude's still going at it, and
I
everybody
was like,
was
how
like,
was he still there? Because he was older, like when we're at Bill's.
bro, he's like 50. He's
Man.
he's got to be in his 50s. When he was at Bills, he was trying to hang with younger people. Remember,
Yep.
remember we kicked that kid out with the Cubs hat. Kid was probably like a 21, 22, and then his
His
mom
mom
called
called.
and asked why he can't come in the bar. And then she was, I think somebody was like, well, he's always hanging with these older alcoholics. And she was like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah. I'm like, you guys taking your son is in here with old predator dudes.
Yeah. So Breaking Bad wasn't in, 7 years later, Cowboy Jacks, he wasn't in with that kid. He was in with a whole new group of kids. He was in with this. Oh man, I always say I'm like the least judgmental person you're gonna meet because for 10 years of my life, I thought it was fun to get in a cage and fight people for very little to if any money. So I can't judge whatever choices you make, but this dude that Breaking Bad hung out with, he had bleach blonde hair with the side of his head shaven. And this dude was Breaking Bad's age too. He's like 40 years old. And he would wear a dog collar and he'd wear spiky bracelets and he'd wear those cat eye contacts and like a Marilyn Manson t-shirt and just
What
walk
the
around
hell?
just so he's walking around staring at people. Breaking Bad's over there shaking, and I'm
Picking
like,
up.
where the fuck am I right now?
That man got a whole new crew.
So that's one of our crazy regulars. What other crazy regulars we had over the years?
Let me see here. God, there's so many. I'm trying to think of a good one though. Uh, Crap. What is? Well, it's a. Wait, crap. Oh yeah. So yeah, this one might. This one might be close to Justin because you remember the ultimate freaking regular uh Fat Bieber.
Oh, Fat Beaver, come on, man! You can't tell the Fat Beaver story.
So we had this dude, man. He would come in there. I swear, he just looked like a big, thicker Justin Bieber, and he would come in there just freaking dancing like he was a backup dancer for J Lo or something like that. He would come there the whole time by himself in the corner doing these moves, and um, so he would be there Thursday. We had it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He would be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Same thing. And I think he'd have. Would he do one drink, or was he drinking like what?
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
he
he
drank.
drank.
I don't think
Yeah,
he
I think he
drank.
was doing like Sprite or water, and he would go in there and just dance the whole time, dance and come back over the bar, drink his water, get back out there. So he had this girl that he was in love with, and I think they were together for a little bit, right?
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
together for a little bit.
yeah. So they're sitting there and they're together for a while. He come in there with her, then he's dancing with her. I think she would drink a little bit, but he still get his water, have her out there dancing again. And I don't know, one night I guess she caught interest in Justin.
you're you're actually telling the story a little wrong, a little wrong. It's been a couple
Yeah.
years. So what had happened was I dated her first. So I
Did
was
you
I was
wait?
yeah, I was dating her. Me and her dated for like a month, maybe 2 months, broke up, wasn't a good match. Then like a month
That's right.
later,
Yeah.
then
She
like
came
a
in there
month
with Fat
later,
Beaver.
she
Yeah.
yeah, she started dating him.
Yeah. So yeah. And then because she was the one, isn't she the one that wanted you to move to Texas?
Nah, that's a different one.
Oh shoot, man. I got a bunch of them. Let me put that in the host. But which because this one was what was her name?
This is
So
Christina.
Christina was I thought she wanted you to move.
Nah, Christina was I'm trying to think of a way to about this.
I swear it was
So
like I swear
Christina, for better or worse, Christina was a club rat. Christina just
yeah.
wanted to go. She
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to go out all the time. So for her, like me and her, the way that we started dating is she hit on me because my mohawk was blue and she thought that was cool. And
Yeah,
that's like that was her vibe. She wanted to date like the most badass dude in the club that no like
yeah,
she loved when we were dating if a dude hit on her, and dudes would hit on her because she wore the most ridiculous fucking outfits ever, like the
true.
skimpiest shit you would see. She was
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
for attention. But keep in mind, I was like 24 years old at the time. So like
yeah.
mature Justin would have been like, I don't want nothing to do with this. Young Justin's like, what's the
Eh.
worst? It's
Let's roll
so
these dice.
she would wait for dudes to hit on her, and then she loved like pointing at me and be like, "That's my boyfriend. He's the jealous type." And then dudes would come up, be like, "I'm so sorry, bro," and I just be like, "The fuck are you talking about? I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah. Like, what do
I'm
you?
not
Yeah.
the I'm not the jealous type."
Like, I am far from that.
Like so yeah, we dated for a while and then broke up. But she looking for attention. She just kept coming into Bill's after.
Yeah, and she would come in there with. I remember she being there with Fat Beaver. She would just still be locking eyes with you, and she, and then, oh god, I don't know why I can't get a hold of this story because did she walk away from him in the bar, or was
I mean,
that
so
after?
So what happened was they were dating, they broke up. She came into the bar one night after they
Uh,
broke up. She came home with me that night,
yeah,
and then like a week later, she was back in with him, and she must have told him what happened during their
yeah,
break or something. Because then, yeah, then he started crying.
because that was in the bar. I remember that one because it was going. He was outside with his dudes. His dudes hugging him up, and I thought that was weird. But I'm like, what in the hell is going on? He's like, well, you just find his girl is cheated. I'm like, his girl. It's like, who's your? I was like, her. He's like, yeah, man. So I knew that was you. I was like, oh crap. But I remember he was, man. I think he went out there on a slow song and did a slow dance by himself. Dude, it was weird because I was sitting there on. I'm like, this dude is really hitting it because he used to be upbeat out there. I mean, doing just Justin Bieber moves
Just
everywhere, everywhere, and all.
popping and locking.
Yeah. And all of a sudden that slow song come on. And he's in the corner, man, just sitting there slow dancing by himself. I was like, oh my gosh. And it,
Um,
crying to his boys in the parking lot. I'm like, dude, this is not how you do this.
no, man, that reminds me of probably the funniest, softest shit we ever saw a dude do. And I'll leave his name out of it because I don't want to sell him out or anything. But this one, it was funny because everybody remember that period of time where everybody was obsessed with that Lacey chick. Everybody,
The
like
late
everybody with that Lacey chick with the tattoos
oh
and you know
gotcha. 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 Yep.
everybody,
Yep. Yep.
everybody was. And this dude went on a date with her. I think Dan went on a date with her. I think another dude went on a date with her. I went on a date with her. So it's like I went on a date with her on like a Wednesday. She was also a server, so she had a weird schedule. So I went on a date with her on like a Wednesday. It was whatever. I wasn't interested in pursuing it any further. It was like, whatever. And then this dude, the regular, he found out that I went on a date with her. And then you remember that night, his Snapchat story was just him driving and singing Drake songs.
Drake's dude, I was like, what did you do to this dude, man? I'm like, did he not know? I guess he had found out that she had went on dates with other dudes that week or what. I don't know why he would. I guess he thought he was the only one.
Yeah, I mean, I remember he was like, he was in the bar that night. He's like, "What happened, man? Tell me what happened. I thought I was exclusive with her." I was like, literally, we met up, we had a drink, talked a little bit. I was like, "All right, I'm gonna like nothing happened." it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just it
Be
was
like,
just like
nothing.
like a hangout, you know. But
Yeah.
he got super in his feels about it.
And then snapping it with Drake songs, man. That's just not.
And
Oh
this is
my
a
god.
to paint the picture even bigger. This is a big
It's
fucking
a
dude
it's a
too.
big dude.
He was like 6'6", 280, pretty jacked. Like people thought that he played professional football, and
You would think he,
yeah.
yeah, with his
And
size, like he was jacked up.
so that dude driving, crying to Drake songs just makes the story even funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was a weird one. That was a weird one because the thing is, he had no clue. He's like, yeah, we're
No,
dating. I'm like, because I'm going over my head. And I didn't even mention it out to him. I was like, oh, okay. Cool. I'm thinking like, nah, no, you're not.
Nah, nah. Trying to think what other crazy regulars. We had the old lady pimp. I busted that shit.
Oh yeah.
That shit still makes me laugh because I've been there for like 3 weeks and I scoped it out right away. And then
Dude, I was there over a year. When you told me, I was like, and then just all hit. I was like, oh my God.
all
This
you
dude,
guys were like, no way. And I was like, I'm telling you
yeah.
guys, she is actually like prostituting this girl, like
I was like,
renting her out.
there was no, but the thing is, she would pick girls out that night. Some of them, because some of them, she would sit there and she would talk. She would get them drinks. They're talking. They go out there, dance, have a good time. She go over, talk to a dude, come back. Oh yeah, this dude likes you. Why don't you go over? And I'm like, and when you were saying it, like, you're like, listen, she's prostituting girls. I'm like, there's no way. I know, because she's an older lady.
Oh,
You
yep.
know, I mean, it's not like she didn't look like the, you know what I'm saying, the type of like the Queen of the South drug kingpin woman. I'm like, this is suburban, like a suburban mom. She would take care of girls that were drunk sometimes and be like, oh yeah, get him in the cab or whatever. You would never think it. You're like, dude, she's pimping these girls out. I'm like,
Pimp
there's no
him.
way. I was like, there's no way.
Yep.
She can't do it. I mean, it's been over a year. I've talked to this woman coming in, and you're like, just look at it, and it was it was like, dude, it was like an episode of like NCIS when you said it, just pieces coming in. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I said, this woman's a pimp. She's pimping us. I was like, because it was just coming in. She would go, she would talk to the girl, they would talk, they would laugh. She'd buy her a couple of drinks, they go dance. Once she danced, the girl would go to the bathroom or something, go back to her girlfriend. She would go to a dude, talk to the dude. She would come back, go back to that girl, point out. And I was like, because a couple of times I'd asked like the girl, and they were like, "Oh yeah," because what they call her, Mama something.
Everybody called her Ma, which was super weird. I remember like
Yeah,
my first week there, she came up and she's like, "Oh, you're new here? Everybody calls me Ma." And I was like, "I'm not gonna do that. What's your
yeah.
actual name?"
I like that was her pimp name. She wants you to get to. And I was like, because she was like, yeah, she said that so this one guy over here liked me or whatever. And he's a cool guy, and I went and danced with, and and they would leave out, and I'm like, I would see everything but a money exchange. But she would
Yeah.
always, but the thing is even after some of them dudes come back in the bar, she'd be over talking to him or whatever. And I guess that's when it went down. But just after you said that, I would watch like certain exchanges. And I'm like, this woman's a pimp, dude. I was like, oh, this is so crazy.
Yeah, I remember she had the one like her main girl, her the main she
Yeah.
had a little stable of girls, but she had the
Yep.
main girl, and she was the type of girl that probably would have made a great stripper because when the lights are low, you're like, all right, she looks kind of good, and then the lights come on, you see the crooked teeth, you see the eyes a little
Uh,
droopy, you
it's a
know.
freaking sea donkey. I'm
but
like,
but I noticed like my third week there, I'm like every weekend that I've been here, this old lady has walked with this girl. They've started chatting up an older man, and
yeah.
then the girl and the man disappear to a car, and the lady comes back in. I'm like, geez. And I mean, I'd worked Minneapolis for like 6 years before this, so I'm like, I've seen this before. I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
seen it be an old lady before, but
That's
I've
what got
seen
me.
like the way she was maneuvering and the way she was handling it. I'm like, she's literally pimping these girls. And then we had a meeting like 2 weeks later, and they announced like they must have busted her during the day doing it. They're like, yeah, she can't come back in here. She got
I remember
busted
that. Yep, she
for
got butt.
prostitution. And I was like, I fucking told you
Cause
guys.
cause wasn't it at Casper's?
Yeah, that's where she went after.
After.
After
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
we
cause
wouldn't let her back in, so she was like, I'm taking my business.
dude, that stuff, man, that was a shock because I'm like, if you guys could, 'cause the thing is yeah, I would know what a pimp stuff or whatever, something's going on or whatever. And this, but you got to think of this woman. Like I never even looked into detail with this woman because if you got to think, I'm trying to think of a suburban grandmother. Like you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't think you would look at a grandmother and be like, oh yeah, she running hoes. But
She did wear like she wore like gold bracelets, and she wore like
yeah,
the leopard print jacket. So she did have a little like flash to her, and she would try to talk like she was younger too.
Right.
That was another weird thing with her. I'm like, you're like 60. Why are you talking this way?
Yeah, but she had the whole like look of like a suburban grandmother, but she was trying
Mm-hmm.
to stay young. But I was thinking, okay, she's getting out, she's staying vibrant, let her go ahead and party, whatever. Man, when that stuff, I told you when that stuff hit me like CSI, I was like, oh my God. I'm just watching and the thing is that first one, I didn't even jump in that night. I was just looking, I'm like, and I would walk over to the other side of the bar, see them dance. Then I walk back over and see her, talk to her. I'm walking behind, boom. Then I go out there and talk to Chad, and then the front door, see the girl leave out with the dude. I'm like, God damn, she running hoes in here. I was like, oh. And then when they came back, it was like, yeah, she got busted for prostitution. You were like, told you she's running. I was like, I didn't want to believe it, man. Grandmother can't be running hoes up in here.
Oh man, do we got to talk about any other crazy regulars?
uh,
Do we got to talk about Crazy Legs?
oh man, I feel bad. Rest in peace, Crazy Leg. Man, that was
I'm not pouring one out for Crazy
yeah,
Legs.
man, dude. Oh, that was a shocker on that one. So
I mean,
we had to do
it
this.
was a shocker that we allowed that man to do what he did.
Yeah, because it was borderline
Fucking weird.
weird and what am I thinking? He could have probably been brought up on charges on something, but the women just would let him
They would just let him.
because he was crazy legs. Crazy legs the same as Happy Feet, and Happy Feet was different. Happy Feet was different, dude.
Nah, they're the same dude.
I thought Happy Feet was the one younger cat. Remember he came
Mm,
in there dancing all crazy?
I never saw anybody dance as crazy as Crazy Legs.
Yeah, Crazy Legs was the other one was Happy Feet, but that
That
might have been
dude,
before you. Yeah.
Crazy Legs had no ACLs apparently because the way his shit
No.
would just bend and move and twist. I was like,
And no ankle ligaments. Like he would just sit there and be out there dancing, moving around. You just see knees and ankles just flipping around. And the whole thing would be his lower body going. And the whole time his upper body would be doing that like this. And he'd just be, and women would come out there and dance. He'd sling them around, grabbing on them. Like, and they're like, oh my God, he's dead. And I know that dude was groping these women.
oh man,
Like,
that's the shit that got me is I'd get like 15 complaints a night about this dude
yeah.
from bar goers, from servers, from bartenders, whatever. But he was like best friends with the owner, so I could never do nothing
Yeah.
about it.
And if,
Then he dies. Like
yeah.
not to laugh at it, but he passed away,
Yeah.
and it was fucking awkward. I guess he had
Oh man.
a tree fall on him or something. I don't
So
really
he
know.
was like one of those dudes that would go up and like working with a company that would take down big trees. Like he'd be one of the dudes to get up there and like guide it as they're cutting the ones down the bottom. And like it was so awkward when they came in there, man. That time they're like, Crazy Legs, like he died. I'm like, what? Dude, when they said a tree fell, I'm like, dude, that was an awkward, like,
That was
I remember that
that was
whole thing was
it was
ah
weird. I
yeah.
remember they called us all in the back. They're like all staff meeting in the back and walk in the back kitchen and Brian's crying and
Like,
Nisia's
yeah,
crying.
everybody's crying. I'm like, what
There's
the
some
world's going
servers
on?
crying. I'm like, oh, we closing down? All right.
Because this, yeah, we get shut down.
Did they pull our liquor license? What's going on here? Is
Yeah.
everybody out of job? What's going on? And then they're like, what the fuck was his real name?
I can't remember it.
I
I don't
can't, but they're
even
like,
know it. Yeah.
whatever his real name is, they're like, yeah, he died, passed away. And the shit that got me is the same girls that the night before were telling me to
Telling
keep
on them.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like, keep Crazy Legs away from me. He keeps grabbing my ass. They're not
Yeah.
crying, and they're like, it's so sad. I'm like, you didn't
You
like
were
this.
just telling on this dude last night. Yeah.
Do you remember what the DJ booth did?
Oh no.
Remember they held a moment of silence and then they put a pair of shoes up in the rafters.
Oh yeah,
That's
dude.
hilarious.
Man, I remember, bro.
I remember because that was one of them moments where everybody else is so serious and they're paying respects to him. It's a moment of silence.
I walked
And
outside.
and as soon as they put them they tied the shoe like you see on a telephone pole and they chucked it up there.
Yeah.
I had to turn away because I was
I
laughing. I was
walked
like, oh
outside. And
my
the thing
God.
is that when they told Brian, I said, please don't do that. well, no, it's his shoes, and what we're gonna do is, we're gonna honor him. I said, please, you can honor him by maybe if you want to put a pair in the middle of the dance floor while everybody's silent. I was like, please don't chuck this stuff up on this wire. Don't do it. He's like, no, I think it's a good idea. And I remember I was sitting there, and I mean, he's a good dude. And I'm not laughing at death or anything, but I'm like, when they sit there and dude took them shoes and threw it away, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to walk outside. I'm like, Chad was like, they didn't. I'm like, they threw his shoes up on that dang wire,
Do
bro. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah,
you remember?
that was weird.
You, you remember the female Crazy Legs?
Which one was that?
Remember that chick? She was older. I'll never forget her because I had to carry her ass out of there. Like that was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. I was like, come on. She was this older chick, and she would come in about once a month, maybe every other month. She didn't come in very often. She had glasses and she had a ponytail, and she'd wear a polka dot dress, and she would get down on the dance floor. She'd go crazy. She would be doing all these dances, and then
Oh yeah, yeah,
she would jump as high as she could and spin in the air and land. And
yeah. Because
one night,
she didn't come in that much. I
nah,
remember. Yeah,
just crazy when she did. One night, she's dancing. She's got heels on. Jumps. She spins. She busts her ankle, and she's crying on the dance floor. And I help her into a chair.
yeah,
And remember, I had to carry her like a fucking bride out the door
yes.
because she couldn't put any weight on it. And I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't remember if you. I don't think you were on that night because I remember looking around and I was like, I'm really the only person here who can do this shit right now. Like it was like Bloom
No, no.
and old
I was
John.
there because I was. I remember. I remember. I said she had to get because I went by the DJ booth. First, I went out on the back patio because I'm like, I'm not picking this broad up. And I came in there. They're like, okay, we got her. And like I came in and I stood on that little step stool by the DJ booth, right, going outside to the back patio, and
Yep.
looked up when I saw you carrying her out like an officer and gentleman. I was
Man,
like,
I'm carrying her
I'm
like a
like, he's
bride.
hating this. I'm like, he's hating this so much because
She
she was
got,
like hugged up.
oh man, she had both arms around my neck and
Yes.
she's like looking at me with these like I love you eyes. And
I
I'm like,
told
I'm
you it
just
was
trying
like
to
an
get you to
officer
your
and a
car.
gentleman, dude. And I just remember sitting there. I was like, just laughing. And the DJ, he was like, What's so funny?" I'm like, "Dude, he is hating every moment of this right now." I was like, "I know he is." I'm like, because I know you. I was like, "You don't like to be touched," and she was all up on your neck,
Oh
just
man.
gazing.
Ugh. That was that was the worst part of bar security is the touching. Like
Yeah,
the worst of like people, girls, when girls get drunk, they don't have any understanding of personal boundaries and they seem
no
to think
personal
like,
space.
nah,
Like
man. Remember
all
the
this
girl,
bubble.
remember the regular who was super obsessed with me and probably asked me out like 100 times. And 100 times I said, no thanks. And that one night she is like, I'll leave you alone if I can just get a hug. And I was like, all right, cool. So I gave her just like the most bare minimum. Like I basically let her hug me as I just sat there. And then
Uh,
as she pulled away, she licked to the side of my face.
oh yeah, bro. you
Oh,
you went straight to the back and was like, like I don't even know where her mouth's been, man. I was like, oh, that was nasty. She stuck one in on you.
yeah, I wasn't trying to get hepatitis. I tried to do a nice little scrub.
Oh man, you guys gotta understand on how if I could paint the picture when she was sitting there because I'm like I'm behind her, so I'm looking at him while you're just like, oh god, let me just get because she's not leaving, and then so you're pulling away and she just licks you. You're just and then you beeline back and imagine he's beelining back to the kitchen to where the sink is, and I'm falling behind him just laughing. I'm like, dude, she licked your face. She's in the sink. I don't even know where her mouth is. And I'm like, oh, this is nuts. Oh man, that stuff was funny as hell. Oh yeah, those.
I don't think I don't think we have any other regulars we got to hit though. Any other unless you think of anybody else?
Uh, the only one because the only thing is, I mean, you had like the same regular Thursday night girls that would come there all the time for the free drinks and just get smashed drunk and pissed in the parking lot. Because remember that? What was that girl's name? She used to be. She. I think she. For me, I think she might have been the original Thursday nighter. What was her name? I think it was Abby.
I don't remember Abby.
You might not have been. Yeah, she might have stopped after you got there. Like when I first started, she was like the original. And she would come in there every Thursday night. She would hit on every bouncer. Like no, she would get. And the thing is she would keep drinking. Cause see if we get Chad and Big A on there, they'll remember. She would keep drinking all night the free drinks because it was like an hour and a half. I mean, she'd be pounding them. She's hitting on every bouncer. Every bouncer's telling her no, and then she would get real angry when the free drinks were done, and no one's talking to her. And you could take her outside. She would do the same thing. Get mad, cuss everybody out, start crying. Her friends are hugging her, and then she'd just be pissing in the parking lot. I mean, right in the, if you're going out the west parking lot where you got to take the little maze to get out, like right there, with
Uh,
cars are coming. I'm like, you can't go buy a car and just lean in or in a bush like someone like you in the middle of the dang thing. I'm like, and it would be every Thursday. Come in there, drink crazy, get mad, cry, pissed. And it was just, dude. And they'd keep on letting, I'm like, why do we let her in? Because she would bring like, honestly, 8 to 9 of her ratchet friends in there. So it was just like they're bringing in people. And I'm just, it was so bad.
oh,
So bad.
bro, you just jogged my memory of another Thursday nighter that was a regular. Because it was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. I was like, I didn't know what to do. I just froze. I was like, that's a sweet tattoo. And then I think I walked away. I was like, what the fuck? Do you remember the girl? Nice girl, nice girl. Just was in there every Thursday night, drunk as hell, missing a couple teeth. I think she dated one of the bouncers for a while. I forget the dude's name. He didn't last very long. But she was the manager at KFC, and she would always be like, I'm bringing you guys KFC.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
She
Yes.
would
Yes. Yes. Yep.
she would just put buckets of KFC in the back and
KFC.
we're
Yep.
like, I'm not eating 4 hour old fried chicken. What the
Oh
fuck?
yeah. Yep. I
but
remember that. Yep.
but she came up one time and she's like, she looked at my tattoo. I got a phoenix tattooed on my forearm. She's like, that's a cool tattoo. I have a phoenix too, and I don't talk to people. If people are engaging me in conversation, I
Yeah.
don't do the things that normal people, a normal person would be like, oh sweet, where's your tattoo? I didn't do that.
No.
I was like, cool, like keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
I don't
Sounds
want to
good.
have
Yeah.
this. I don't
Yo.
want to have this
I don't
conversation.
want this interaction.
And then she just unzips her shirt, and it was a phoenix. Like the beak is like between her. She was wearing a bra, but like the beak's between her boobs, and it goes down her shirt, and her shirt. She just got one of them melted ice cream bodies, and just
Yeah.
I'm
Just
seeing this phoenix tattoo, and I'm just like, she's like, isn't it pretty? And I was like, that's a cool tattoo, and I just walked away. I was like, oh my god.
Oh,
She like cornered me on the patio. It was like, want to see my tattoo? I'm like, nah, I don't want to see your
nah,
tattoo.
I remember her bringing that chicken, man. Who was the bouncer she was dating?
I know he was one of them dudes who only lasted like a month.
Yeah, because he was just like doing trash. He wasn't there
Yep,
long.
yep. But she
Yeah.
dated him for a while, and then I feel like she might have dated Big John for a while, and she might have, or she was friends with him or something. But she was in there every Thursday, and like
Yeah, I
I
think she
said,
was friends. Yeah, she was friends with Big John
you
because he was
know,
friend. He was friends with the bouncer dude.
yeah, she's
Yeah,
probably a really really nice person, but just the
yeah.
definition of a Thursday nighter. And I was just like, man, I saw way more of you than I ever intended to.
Never want to see that ever. That's awesome.
Let's move to the next question somebody asked here. So, did you ever have to remove somebody who was bigger or stronger than you, where you feared for your safety? You thought like you might get your ass.
Huh? Yeah, that was Memphis.
Yeah.
Man, this dude. Oh my God. And he was a regular. And mind you, the one I was working at Memphis was kind of because there and playing ball like you got to do then, like you can't do now. You had to be discreet stuff because they're paying you on their table. So it was like a towny kind of bar. Um, and it was a big country white dude. Like, and then he would be in there. He was kind of a regular come in. We'd have conversations or whatever. good, but I don't know. I think some reason this night he might have. I think he broke up with his girl or something like that, or his wife. I don't know. His wife or his girl, and he was just freaking binge drinking to the point where the bartender was like, told the manager was like, yeah, he's had too much. We need to get him a cab and get him home because he's not in his right state of mind. Because he was starting to mess with people coming to the bar. So and get it if you think this dude was like probably big size, might have been a little bigger, like just rounded out. Um, but I mean, he was sloppy drunk, and I think drunk. I think alcohol was it. I'm not sure what is that. So we're coming in, and we've always had good conversations. Whatever. I'm like, hey man, and he's telling me about yeah, it was his wife. Yep, his wife left him or whatever. I was like, dude, it sucks, dude. I said, hey, but let's get you home. You had too much, man, it's like, well, I don't want to leave you. I said, yeah, but the manager's no, there's no way he's saying that. I know him. So he's come behind the bar and he's like, yeah, we got to get Chip out of here, man. We got to get Chip out of here. A little too much. And so he's pissed. He's getting up. He's pissed. And mind you, like, big, like, what did he get? Probably like 4 or 5 inches on me. And
Yeah.
then I was smaller than I am now. I mean, I wasn't a small dude by anyways, but I think I'd have been like probably 230s, 225. And he's going out like it's a regular thing. And I remember him, and it was like slow motion. Because when there people are drunk, it moving slower, so you could time it out. So he like stops. It's not like a quick thing where he just wings back. So he stops, and you can see him lean forward to go back with the arm. And I'm like, this dude's really gonna do this. So you duck it up, and then you just grab the chest, and I'm running back out, and we have kind of like what we had in Wild Bills, but it's not two double doors; it's just one that fans open. And he's a wider dude. Like I said, he caught himself there as I'm going back, and I remember going, and he caught himself, and he went forward. And I kind of stumbled back. I'm like, dude, this dude's got to go. So my thing is, I always try to get people on the ground, and I remember grabbing a leg trying to get him. Man, I don't know if I misjudged his drunken strength or it might have been crack. I don't know, man. I could not lift his leg. And this dude, so I got a hold of his thigh, and dude is over me, and he's lifting like by my waist. So imagine I got a hold of his thigh, and both of my legs are up because he's grabbing my waist. I'm like, what the hell? And luckily, I had two dudes with me that they came in and just kind of got to the top of his body where he let go, and like all three of us had to run, and then even in all three of us and getting him out, like I don't even know if it was alcohol or it had to be something more because this dude had like superhuman strength, and I remember trying to hold him down and keep him down with three of us until the cops came because he was getting up, he'd get on all fours and he's slinging dudes, and I'm like around his neck, and I can't choke him out because his neck is big as shit. So I can't get in there and get a good hold. So he's just sitting there slinging me off, and I'm going over. And I remember he had laid on me at one point. And I'm like, dude, I can't breathe. Get this dude off me. So he's rolled over. Like it literally, the cops got there probably a little under 5 minutes, but it felt like it was like an hour of rolling around with this dude. But I think that was the one time I had like because you know how it is when they're drunk, even if they're big, like you're like, I got it because they're drunk and I think I did not understand his man strength and drunkenness. That dude was I underestimated that one. Luckily, I had two dudes with me because that could have ended badly.
Yeah, I mean, in my 15 years of security, I think what made me good is that I was fearless. I was like, I'm not
Yeah,
scared. Like I would
I'll
just
give you
run
that.
in, I would just run into shit. And most of the time, I didn't have a plan. I was just like, what? Not thinking, just going. There was only ever one time where I was squared up with this guy, and I was thinking, I'm like, all right, I got to be strategic here. This dude's big. He's pissed. He's strong. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Luckily, a fight didn't come out of it. You know, I don't think he really wanted to fight me that much either. But it was the one time, and you'll remember the story too. So it's a Saturday night at Bills, and I get a call, fight in the bathroom, and I get there, and Bloom is already there, and
Oh yeah.
Bloom and Liko are already there, and both of them, they're just watching as this dude had this guy, a guy who used to work for us actually, has him
Yeah.
on the ground by the urinal, and he's punched him in the face, but he has a beer bottle in his fist. So the beer bottle is broken in his fist, and he's got shards of glass, and he's beating the shit out of the dude. So I jump in, I get him free or whatever. You get there at that point, and you take the dude who was getting beat on. You take
Uh
him, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna take him outside. Stay here, with this dude. And we all security, everybody responded to the call. We're probably 10 deep that night. I'm not lying when I tell you, everybody followed you. Like
yeah.
this
I
dude just got
remember
the shit kicked out of him. And everybody acts like that's the dude who needs 9 people in
I
backup.
went out to the West parking lot, dude, that cut you. And I remember going out there and I didn't even look behind me. So I'm getting out there because he has his like 2 or 3 dudes with him. And I'm getting over the West lot on the side. And I'm because his car was over there. So I'm pushing him over. I'm like, stay the hell right there, don't go back in. And I turn around, I'm like, I look on the sidewalk, they're all lined up like it's formation. I said, who's in there with Justin? Because remember, I knew dude, that was Dan. I remember I knew dude was big as hell.
Yeah.
Because
So,
remember when he was in there and we are taking him out and he said I called Dave because I knew Dave and I said
yeah.
this dude is bigger. We don't want Dave coming.
Yep. So this dude, every security guy follows you out, and I'm 99% sure they did it because they didn't want any problems with the dude I'm holding back.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this dude, he's pissed. He's pacing back and forth. We're out of the bathroom at this point. We're like in the entryway. So it's the door, it's me, and it's him, and he's pacing back and forth, and he's like, "I'm gonna fuck that guy up. I'm gonna fuck that guy up." I'm like, "Just calm down, man. It's over. You got your shots in. The cops weren't called. Like, we're all good." And
Yeah.
he starts like glaring at me. He's like, "If I try to go through that door, you gonna stop me?" And I was like, "I don't want to fight you, man, but if you make me, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to." And this dude was probably 6'4", like
Yeah.
240,
He's a big dude.
big, big
Big
ass
dude.
dude, big ass dude. And he's eyeballing me, and he's talking, and he's not talking. I wouldn't say he was talking shit to me. It reminded me of Kevin Garnett because he's talking shit to himself. And
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, motherfucker's crazy.
Yeah. I
And
know
I'm
that. Yeah, dude. That yeah.
So I'm literally watching him pace back and forth. I'm like, man, he's got pretty jacked arms, but his legs look kind of small. Maybe I single leg him. I'll get him on the ground. Maybe I'll throw a kick if I need to. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll just bust his ACL out, side kick to the knee. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
Dude, yeah.
something's
You're
gonna
like, I'm
have to
about to get
happen.
it.
Yep, but nothing. He eventually calmed down and nothing happened. But that was the one time where I was like, shit, I
Yeah.
might actually like I might need to because I never felt any fear in a bar situation because I fought. So I fought. So every day, like when you're training as an MMA fighter, you literally fight every day. In the gym, we're sparring every day, we're fighting every day. Like
Uh,
it becomes like breathing. You don't fear a fight at all. So
right.
the idea of drunk people making me feel
That's the
scared
thing.
to be like, I don't
Yeah.
want to do it. I was always like, whatever, dude, I'm gonna fuck this dude up.
Yo. That was the thing because I remember that night because it was and luckily he had like calmed down. But remember he came back out and dude was talking shit in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up. And you get this dude riled up. And that's when he said, don't worry, I got Dave coming on. You're like, Dave. I said, Dave doesn't need to come here. And he was coming in that parking lot. You were like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah. I was like, Dave, hold on. Because the only thing that got me because those 2 dudes, uh, their kids were at Egan and they played basketball against Little Said. And I would always see them in tournaments and talk. And that was the only thing that saved. I was like, they said, why this dude got to call me and get me out of bed? I said, hey, man, everything's cool. Dude over there, we got it. I was like, we don't need to get riled up. I mean, I was talking now. I was like, because if these 2 dudes get loose, it's going to take all of us to get these dudes down, man.
Yeah, they were big dudes, but that's the only time where I ever had to like strategize. I was like, all right, if a fight breaks out, this is what I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take him down this way. That's the only time. Any other time like downtown or any other dude, like even big guys, like you said, you see the punch coming a mile away.
Yeah.
You get out of the way and you put him down. It's not that hard.
Yeah. That's the only thing because it's like you said, like I'm saying, when they're and people don't understand it, like, and you go out there and you're getting sloppy drunk, the one thing you should try not to do is fight because you may think that you're speedy. It's the slowest thing ever. And you just kind of like show it like, oh, you're like, oh man, don't do this. It's just kind of, but like you see it a whole different way. And then you're wondering, like, man, how'd I get my ass beat? Because you're moving like a snail pace. But it's, yeah.
All right, the last question we got here is, what was your favorite technique to remove somebody when it got physical?
uh, I shoot. I follow the motto my dad gave me. Like, he always tell me, like, going up, like when you go, like you're trained like punching. And it's a perfect example of like, I know I can't stand up with Justin and punch. It's just not gonna work too fast. And even on the ground, my strategy may not even work with you because you're quick because you train. But my dad's telling me like everybody's the same speed on the ground. So every time I get on, no matter what, I get him to the ground. Once I get him to the ground, you pretty much put him in any kind of hold. 9 times out of 10, they just give up. So my main thing is to get everybody on the ground because you do not want to take a 2 piece like your boy, what you call, we're outside.
Oh,
Uh, boy Scholar taking too many pieces to the dome. I'm like,
sure.
listen, if they friggin' anybody fast, I'm like, I don't feel like ducking punches all day. Just get them to the ground and yeah, that's my favorite one is just taking people to the ground because evens up the speed to me.
My favorite way to take somebody out, and I probably did it like 5 times. And then there's one time where I was able to really have fun with it. Is I love when I can get somebody in a full Nelson hold, and then I just drag them out that way. And there was one time, dude's on the dance floor, he's starting shit. I go and I get in between him and the guy he's starting shit with, and it's still one of the weirdest like fights we ever had because the dude, there's two of them. Dude punches me, sucker punches me. I'm talking to one group, dude from the other group, sucker punches me. And the dude, Dan's standing next to me, and the dude standing next to the guy who punched me drops down and punches Dan in the dick.
No,
Just straight dick punch.
just right there.
It was fucking wild. So I
Oh,
get hit,
I
and
remember that.
immediately I grab the dude, and this dude, he had long dreadlocks. So I get him, I'll wrap him up, swim to the back, get the full Nelson, and then I have a full Nelson, but I'm palming his head and gripping his dreadlocks. So
Uh,
Wild Bills, the way it was laid out, we were at the back part of the dance floor, and you got to go all the way through the bar.
through
And there are 3 different posts, like pillars in the building,
big wood
and
post.
big wood pillars. And I had him in the full Nelson, and every time that I came close to that, I'd be like, "Oops, bam!"
Bam! Just make them touch
Slam his
every
head
post.
into it, and then oops, bam into this one. And then I think I did one more for good measure on the door on the way out.
You did
And
on that
yep,
one, L. Yep.
so we get him out. He's not fighting anymore. He's all fucked up. His face fucked. And it's funny because the cops end up getting called, and they come to me. I don't remember what cop it was, but he's like, "What happened to that guy?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "His face is pretty fucked up." And I was like, "I don't know what happened." He's like, "Well, let's put it this way. I can't recognize him based on his picture
This
that's
picture.
loading in the computer. Like that's how swollen his face is. His eye is swollen shut." And the dude,
Oh,
he ended up getting arrested that night. He had outstanding warrants, but this was back in the day, back in the good old days, where if somebody hits you, you got a chance
yeah.
to fuck them up. Like
Fuck 'em up. Yep.
I couldn't get away with that now. If I'm working security and somebody sucker punches me, I just got to kind of take it. But
Yeah.
um, but back then, man, it was kind of an unwritten rule. Like, hey, man, if you do some dumb shit, you're going to get fucked up. So that
It's
was
like
my
it's gonna.
favorite way to take someone out. Full Nelson, they can't do anything in that position.
Oh yeah, just flopping around, coming out. Dan, I remember the old dick punch. Oh, he's like, dude, I didn't even do anything. I'm just standing there.
dude, dude just dropped down and just yeah, just
Yep.
right. I've never seen somebody punch another man in the dick, but he did. He dropped
I
down.
mean,
There's a straight just cross.
it was his go-to move. Like, and Dan when he could have actually sucker punched Dan because he wasn't even looking at direction.
No,
But for you
yeah,
to just get down there and take one knee and then just yada. I was like, and we went back in. He was still down there. I was like, you need some ice or something? He's like, what the fuck? But that was the one time I seen Dan like mad.
Yeah.
He was like,
I,
dude, why the hell would he just hit me in the dick? I was like, I don't know, man. You gotta ask him.
yeah, man, you punch me in the dick, I'm gonna be pretty pissed. I'm
Oh
like, what
yeah.
the fuck, man?
Like where I'm like, that's that dude's go-to move, man.
But for any security people that are listening or any people that are getting into the game, what Cedric said is right. Get him on the ground. Get him on the
Yeah.
ground right away. Go take some jujitsu classes. Being a brown belt in jujitsu, that's like Cedric talks about me punching people and everything. And yeah, I would throw punches every once in a while, but most of the time I would take them to the ground, put them in some kind of hold, get
It'd
them
be a nice
down,
hole too.
be a
It'd be a
nice
nice
hold.
one.
There was when I was working at Cowboy Jacks this summer, I actually broke a dude's arm. He was he had sucker punched the manager, and I came out, and he was a big dude. He was probably like 300 pounds, and he's swinging on everybody, and I just double legged him right into full mount, and I got him in what we call a key lock position, where you got their arm up here, and you're just cranking them this way. And I'm telling him, I'm like, hey man, like I'm being very calm. I'm like, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I can break your shit if I want to. Calm down. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm calm, man. I'm calm. So I stay in mount, and he starts talking shit. He's like, "You're a bitch, man. You're a bitch." And I was like, "Man, you're the one on your back right now. What are you talking about?" And then
Uh,
he started to, it's some of the crazy, it was, so you've been around me long enough to know that when I start talking shit, I'm not really thinking. I just say whatever's on my
oh
mind. Like,
yeah.
and
Just comes out some
it's
funny
always
shit.
unhinged. Yeah, it's always unhinged.
It's some
But
funny shit.
this was my second week at this bar, so they don't know me. And there's like three security guys watching. We're waiting for the cops to show up. I think he had broke the manager's orbital bone or something.
Oh
So
shit.
this dude's talking shit, and he starts throwing that faggot word around, and
Uh,
he's like, "You're a faggot, man. You're a faggot." And I was like, "You better pray I'm not." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "This position I got you in right now, I could fuck you." I was like, "I could fuck you if I wanted to." And he's like, his eyes just like shook. He's like, "What the fuck did you just say?" I'm like, I'm just saying, man, you better pray I'm not,
like
because I could
if what you're saying is true, dude, you about to get
I'm
it.
like, I could do whatever I want to do right now, so you better pray I'm not.
I
And
know
then
the
he starts swinging up at me. So I'm in full mount. He starts swinging up. I pin his arm again, and I start cranking it again. Same key lock position. And I'm telling him, I'm like, calm down, calm down. I'm going to break it. And he's like trying to hit me, and I got my shoulder up. So it's not hitting me, but it's getting annoying. So
uh,
I slowly, and he's drunk. He's not really feeling it the way he should be. He's still
yeah.
swinging. And then finally I heard the pop, and then just screaming. And I was like, yep. And I
Yeah,
was like,
that's it.
your shit's broke. And then
Be like, that's it.
the cop showed up like maybe 5 seconds after I broke it, and he's standing over us, and he looks at the guy. The guy's like crying out. He's like, "So you're done fighting, I guess." And just scoops him up and takes him to the drunk tank that night. But if you know jujitsu, man, the security game is
Yeah.
pretty easy.
That's what I said, man. Many nights I sit there, I'm like, man, it was so quick. When you got that dude, I told you your main man. I wish your go-to move was the headbutt, dude. That first time
Oh,
I saw you headbutt that, oh my gosh. I just got
little said was asking me about that the other day, and
yeah,
he
because
said that he's like, Dad said your go to move's a headbutt. I'm like, it ain't my go to move. I did
yeah,
it one time and I never did it again.
and it was I was total. I kept telling. I was like, man, it's the smoothest like live headbutt I've seen. I mean, you've seen some on TV, but live. Because I remember we were out there with that dude. It was Salt and Pepper, wasn't it?
Nah, it was. I don't think that guy was regular. I
No,
think he was just a
he was.
jackass.
Yep. I remember. Yep, because he had the one drunk girl that kept talking mess, and he was just going. And I remember it was cold as hell, and he was just going, and we were both kind of getting pissed because we are out there, and I mean, it was like a 2 degree -5 below wind chill, whatever, and we're just sitting out there by that one light post, and like I'm sitting like this, and you got your hands in your pockets, and you dude just talking mess, and I'm like, dude, because we're waiting for the cab. I'm like, man, this dude cab can't get here quick enough. Get the hell out of here. He's talking mess, and woman's, yeah, baby, tell him. You're like, dude, you're gonna want to get out of my face. Like I'm getting annoyed. So I'm sitting there now. I'm like, oh, some good shit's about to go on right now. At least I can look at it because I know I can see when you like when you talking stuff and like and you're saying stuff, and I just start laughing, and dudes looking at me get mad because I'm laughing because the shit's funny. And or he came up close and he's like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, pussy?" And I just remember hands in the pocket, dude. And I don't know if people can stand. I'm standing here, Justin's right here, and the dude's like up here, and like he's basically like me and Justin almost shoulder to shoulder or whatever. And all of a sudden it was just whap. Dude was just freaking care. I had to come out. I was like, oh, and then the his girl was like, "You killed him," because he was. You get him like right up with like blood
Nah,
trickling
I broke
down,
his nose. I broke his nose.
and then there was blood trickling down on top because I think it got, and I was like, oh, and I was like, it was so quick, and the woman's like, "You killed him." I'm like, "He's not dead." And I remember I was just asking the whole time, I'm like, "How did you do that? Where did you hit him at?" And dude was just bleeding. "Hey man, help me!" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! How did you get him like right?" I was like, "Your hands were in your pocket."
Yeah,
Dude,
that shit.
it was the fastest thing I've ever seen like live.
That shit was the dumbest shit I've ever done. I
Oh my
remember
goodness.
it's like Cedric said, it was like one of them nights. It's like -2 degrees out
Yeah,
there.
we were just
It's
pissed
like
already.
it's like 2:30. The bar closed at 2. We're still dealing
Yeah.
with these people, and this dude, he's talking shit. And what made me go is I had my hands in my pocket, and my hands are in my pocket. And I remember thinking for a split second, I was like, I don't want to take my hands out to punch him, cold as shit.
Yeah.
So that's how the headbutt came into my head. And then he threatened to, he was like, I'm gonna spit in your face. And I was like, you better not. And then
That's what yeah.
he cocked his head
Touch it.
back like he was going to him before he got a chance. I just, yeah, just
Yeah.
right into his nose. And I remember afterwards, when they eventually left, we were in the back. And I'm like, my fucking head is
You,
pounding. And you're
you're
like,
like
dude, you played it off so smooth. I'm like, no, dude, that shit hurt
you're like that
so
was the
bad.
dumbest shit I've ever done. I was like, man, that's why I was asking questions. Like, how did you do that? Because you were looking like and you just stayed calm. I was like, it was just right there. You hit the perfect spot. Dude was down there holding my leg. I'm bleeding. I'm like, shut the fuck up. So when you hit him, because
Yeah.
I'm sitting there asking questions, he's crying. The woman's yelling, "You killed him!" Finally, the cab comes. I'm like, get him out of here, man. And then when we got in the back, you're like, dude, that was the dumbest shit I've ever
That shit hurt, dude.
done.
Movies make headbutts look so like quick and easy and
That's what I thought.
painless.
I was like,
Uh,
man, because I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's the jujitsu stuff. I gotta get some training so I can find how to headbutt somebody right. Like,
nah, they don't. They don't teach you that in jiu-jitsu.
I'm
That's just
thinking,
knucklehead shit.
yeah, I was like, I think I gotta get some lessons. Because I was like, I just remember it was cold as hell, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to hit this dude. I said maybe I can just like kick sweep him because like my hands were freezing. I'm like, I'm not gonna break a knuckle out here on this dude. Because I remember that night I was getting pissed because I think it was just because of the weather. And I hate fucking
Yep,
cold weather.
yep. It was cold. Man. It was
Yeah,
cold. Uh,
that's crazy.
all right, man. Now we can wrap this episode up. We got to name a Thursday nighter of the week. What are some of the candidates we got this week?
Done some dumb shit. Now I always thinking, I'm just trying to get. I always go to sports,
Yeah.
and I can't even think of.
I mean, if we go in sports, Jimmy Butler, he
Oh yeah.
kind of acting out right now.
And the thing is now, didn't he get suspended now for games?
Got
And he's
got
still trying to.
suspended. Got suspended. He wants to get traded. He like in the game, there's like 20 seconds left on the shot clock. He takes a step back, one leg three, and then doesn't jog back on defense so the other team scores. And
Oh, that's right. He didn't he airball it.
yep, yep, he
Yeah.
playing like shit, taking step back threes and one legged threes and just trying to tank the team. And then after the game, the shit that got me is he's like, I don't have any joy playing basketball anymore. I want to go somewhere I can have joy playing basketball. They're like, can you find joy in Miami? And he's like, no. Like, bro,
Yeah.
you're making $50 million a year to
In
play
Miami.
basketball in Miami, no state taxes, no nothing. It's
And
sunshine. You don't got to deal with nothing. And
and
you
you
telling
have
me you don't have
no
any joy?
joy.
You got no joy? Come on, bro.
And then you're gonna request a trade. Like, what organization is gonna be like, bruh? Can you think of somebody like Cleveland? Like, what the hell we gotta offer this cat, man? He ain't
Nah,
got joy
man.
in Miami. Like, no.
And
Yeah.
people keep getting mad at people like my age and your age. They're like, "Oh, you guys talk about the past too much, and you don't appreciate the new game, and blah blah blah." You hold on to the old shit, but it's like, man, guys like that make it really hard to
Yes.
not talk about the old shit because, like, Kobe Bryant, he requested a trade when he was a Laker, but he still went out and he played his ass off.
Played
He
up.
didn't give any crazy quotes. I grew up on Allen Iverson and all these dudes who, no matter what, they went out, they played. Kevin Garnett, like
Like
they didn't
ball.
do this shit.
And not even for even like, man, they weren't even getting the money these dudes are getting
Nah, man.
at that time. Like, and then they're just going out there playing like you getting all this money. Like you're basically you're set even on that contract alone. You've already had money saved up before because he's older in this league, but now you can't find joy in that. And then you do all that stuff to sabotage, and you're like, yeah, I request a trade. Think someone's gonna pick you up?
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
it's not like Jimmy Butler's young. When
No.
he did this in Minnesota. He was young. He was like 28 years old. He's 35 now. That's old in basketball. I mean, you can't. He's talking
Yeah.
like he's a 25-year-old superstar, and
I'm like,
that's
because in basketball terms, that time people will bring you in an organization to help the young kid in front of you out. And if you got somebody like that, they're not gonna bring that dude in there to talk to anybody young.
nah.
I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be the Thursday nighter of the week.
Yeah.
That's Thursday night behavior. Trying to think. We try to do a male and a female one. Are there any? Got any female Thursday
Email.
nighters of the week? Any girls been acting up?
Uh,
Been acting reckless?
dang, I don't even.
I can't really think of one. I mean, we did Cardi B last week because she makes music exclusively for Thursday nighters.
I mean, Thursday Night Queen. Um, dang. I'm like, again, my mind goes to sports. I'm thinking of women's.
Haven't seen any women acting out in sports.
No,
I mean, uh, the that Angel Reese chick, she kind of drives me a little crazy because her problem is she went on a podcast and she's like, I don't understand why people try to sexualize me. I'm an athlete. And then every time I see her out of stuff, she's wearing the most provocative, revealing clothing.
man.
It's like we're not sexualizing you. I think you're kind of bringing it on yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, you coming like, I don't know. It's a real thin line, like gray area on that. Like even her saying that sexualizing, but you have to know. And I get for her brand, like, okay, that's what you're doing for your brand. That's what it is. Cool. Do whatever you got to make your money, but don't talk in like a different direction than what your brand is.
Right.
If that's your brand and you're to be sexy, all this stuff, playing basketball, sexy, boom, that's your brand. Work it, make your money. But then don't go on the flip side and be like, I don't know why people do this. Like it's your
Right.
brand. That's what you're doing. And that's kind of like, that is like a Thursday night definition. Like if you're one way, don't tell people like, if you're a drunk, you're a drunk. Don't go over and I don't know why everybody thinks I'm drunk and I'm in here every Thursday night getting sloshed. Like if it's your brand, it's your brand. Like go with it. But yeah, it's a
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
thing. Weird
It's a,
thing.
it's a weird thing, man. It's a weird thing for sure. Yeah, I think we covered all the bases today. Next week we'll try to get some people on here, tell their
Yeah.
stories. Same as this week too. Like if you guys have questions you want to ask us, different stories you want us to share, whatever, just submit them. We'll cover them. We'll get it. We'll get it cracking.
Yeah. Like you said, like any questions, throw them out. Any guys that we've worked with, like I know they've mentioned to us that they had some stuff. Um, let me or Justin know. Messages, let us know if you want to be on this next one. Tell a story. We can get this thing going because some of like I said, Big, Little A, Lee, they were there before I was there. Like and open up. I'm pretty sure they got some stuff.
Yep.
Um, even Marin, yeah, she was there. Yeah, she was there before I was because she was there when I came in there. Uh, if you got that, Cass, Rachel, I think they're listening on there too. Yeah, y'all got some stories, man. Let
So,
us
man,
know. We'll get
and
up in there.
if you're listening and you've worked at bars before, feel
Oh
free,
yeah,
reach out. Anybody who's worked in a bar is going to have crazy stories. That's what happens when you mix alcohol with stupid people. So,
yeah. Because I'm pretty sure me and Justin can relate. So get on here and we'll get you on here, tell your story. We'll chop it up.
yep. All right, everybody listening, make sure you not only listen to this podcast, you subscribe to it on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, wherever you're listening, and send it to like 3 or 4 friends. We're trying to grow this thing.
Yes, sir.